Assalamualaikum and a good day to Miss Khadija and my fellow classmates. Today, Anas and I will be presenting our Essay 3 progress report. And our Essay 3 topic is that citizens of Malaysia should be allowed to hold guns as a means of self-defense. Okay, so Anas will be presenting intro 1, intro 2, body 1, and body 2. So let me just give a sneak peek of what we have done. So in intro 1, we made background research on why gun laws in Malaysia are not sufficient. And then we also made research on the high crime rates being the reason for gun necessity in Malaysia. And in intro 2, we gave a brief history of gun laws of certain countries over the world. And then we made an overview of countries that do allow gun possession, which the quote is Switzerland. Sorry about that. And then body 1 is the overview of gun laws in Malaysia. Yeah, so what does the gun law in Malaysia state? And then in body 2, the ineffectiveness of gun laws in Malaysia and the proof and methods of improving gun control in Malaysia. Okay, so that's the first part of it. So now the floor is yours, Brother Anas.
Over the years, the nation has been shocked by a series of seemingly rampant shootings. The crimes happened in both the Peninsula and East Malaysia and have resulted in 22 deaths. For a country with strict gun laws, these crimes have occurred with worrying frequency. If the laws are so strict, then why the sudden rampage of gun crimes? There have been several theories, including the repeal of the emergency ordinance, but most agree that the black market is to blame. According to my watch, there are now black market guns for rent, while gun smuggling occurs across the Thai border. Bernama also reported that there are a few Facebook online shops that are apparently selling guns to ordinary citizens. One group, for example, was selling an AK-47 for 12,000 ringgit and various revolvers and assault rifles for between 500 ringgit and 15,000 ringgit. The account is now closed and police are looking for the operator of the page. Handguns, revolvers, shotguns, and rifles, these are some of the type of firearms. They can be considered cool piece of machinery to some, and for some, they are nothing more than dangerous machine meant to kill. If you are the type of person who finds guns cool, you may have actually thought of owning one, but it's not new news that owning a gun in Malaysia is not easy and probably even impossible. Unlike America, you can go to the nearest convenience store and ask, "May I know where the gun section is?" You must know owning a gun isn't entirely impossible per se, because Malaysian law does provide for methods in which you can legally own a gun, but through extremely difficult procedures. In America, there's a legal right for their citizens to bear arms. This means that the American government can take steps to stop people from owning a gun. However, in Malaysia, there's no right to own a gun, which means that our government can do what it takes to stop or limit ways in which we can own guns. Additionally, according to the Annual Crime and Safety Report 2018, published by the Overseas Security Advisory Council under the United States Bureau and Diplomatic Security, Kuala Lumpur was listed as a high threat location for crime. Crime is an issue of concern in the country and often find the attention of the media. Therefore, as attaining the approval of gun license is an extremely difficult process, and as Malaysia's crime rates are considered to be high, this has led us to believe that Malaysian citizens should be allowed to own firearms as a means of self-protection. Gun laws and policies regulate the manufacture, sale, transfer, possession, modification, and use of small arms by civilians. Laws of some countries may afford civilians a right to keep and bear arms. and have more liberal gun laws than neighboring jurisdictions. Countries which regulate access to firearms will typically restrict access to certain categories of firearms and then restrict the categories of person who may be granted a license for access to such firearms. There may be separate license for hunting, sport shooting, self-defense, collecting, and concealed carry with different sets of requirements, permissions, and responsibilities. Gun laws are often enacted with the intention of reducing the use of small arms in criminal activity, specifying weapons perceived as being capable of inflicting the greatest damage and those most easily concealed, such as handguns and other short-barreled weapons. Persons restricted from legal access to firearms may include those below a certain age or having a criminal record. Firearm license may be denied to those most at risk of harming themselves or others, such as a person with a history of domestic violence, alcoholism or substance abuse, mental illness, depression, or attempted suicide. Those applying for a firearm license may have to demonstrate competence by completing a gun safety course and show provision for a secure location to store weapons. The legislation which restricts small firearms may also restrict other weapons such as explosives, crossbows, swords, electroshock weapons, air guns, and pepper spray. It may also restrict firearm accessories, notably high-capacity magazines and sound suppressors. There may be restrictions on the quantity or types of ammunition purchased, with certain types prohibited. In less than a week after the Christchurch terror attack that claimed 50 lives, New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern announced that an immediate ban on military-style semi-automatic and assault rifles in New Zealand. Meanwhile, how about the gun laws in Malaysia? Are they strict enough to prevent terror attacks in the nation? As mentioned earlier, back in 2013, local crime watchdog MyWatch alleged that the rising shooting case in Malaysia was because of the firearms obtained through rental services, black markets, and gun smuggling across Thailand. All this is because Malaysia is said to have one of the strictest gun laws in the world. So let's take a look on these gun laws. There are two acts that control gun possession in Malaysia, which is the Arms Act and the Firearm Act. According to Section 3 of the Arms Act 1960, no person shall have in his possession, custody or control any arms or ammunition unless he is the holder of an arms license. The Arms Act 1960, as shown above, states that a license is needed if one wishes to own a gun or any type of firearms, or to have anything related to guns, including manufacturing, importing, exporting, and even repairing. A gun license, in the form of permission in writing, can only be granted by the chief police officer of a state after an application form has been submitted to the district police headquarters. Submitting an application may sound easy, but getting it approved is a whole different story. One application may take years to be processed, with an approval not even promised to be the end result. On top of that, the Firearms Act 1971 deals with the gun-related crimes such as extortion, robbery, resisting arrest, and housebreaking. The punishment for such crimes is death penalty for committers and their accomplices. Exhibition of firearms to commit offences without actually using them will be subjected to life imprisonment and 6 strokes of the cane. Nevertheless, there are still a number of nations who privately possess firearms. Overall, the strict gun laws in Malaysia seem as though it does not help in ensuring the security of the people, as although firearms cannot be easily obtained legally, it can still be obtained by many other sources.
Okay, thank you very much, Brother Anas. Now I will be presenting the body tree, refutation, and conclusion. So the million-dollar question is, what could possibly be the reasons for a country to allow their citizen to hold firearms? Well, the answer to that is for protection and for intimidation. That's the benefits of gun possession. Okay, for protection, say guns are banned in Malaysia. You're walking down a street and a thief with a pistol comes around an alley corner 15 feet away. What are you going to do? Charge him? If the people were not allowed to carry guns, then only the bad people would have guns. And for intimidation, you never hear about shooting at a gun show or the police headquarters. That is because if a terrorist was to walk into a gun show or a police headquarters, before he would have a chance to bring his weapon all the way up, he would be penetrated with bullets. So the bad people aren't dumb. They're indeed very smart. They know this. That is exactly why you never hear about robberies at a police station or a gun show. But think about it for a second. If a man breaks into your house with a gun and he sees you, what are you going to do? Ask him to wait for you to call the police to come and protect you? I ask that you think very deeply about my previous points before your final decision. Guns are useful because they can scare off kidnappers and bank robbers. We believe that people should have guns for self-defense because research have shown that they reduce aggravated assaults by 7%, murder by 8.5%, robberies by 3%, and rapes by 5%. The police, on the other hand, misuse their weapons 11% of the time, while armed citizens misuse them 2% of the time. Every 3 out of 5 polled felons said that they wouldn't mess with an armed victim. That says a lot, you know? So if we take away guns, all we're doing is making it easier for criminals to hurt us because we would have no means of self-defense. All we're doing is making it harder for citizens to own firearms, but criminals can still get guns easier than all Malaysian citizens, yeah? So without guns, the crime rate would go up, just like it did when the UK took away guns from their citizens. Guns are needed for self-defense and should be kept in every household. If every citizen carried a gun, countless crimes and murders would have never been committed. Yes, there are cons to citizens owning guns, but the good outweighs the bad in our society. So it will be scary if citizens can't defend themselves from an already corrupt government and a country that has one of the most criminals in the world, Malaysia. Criminals will get their hands on guns, illegal or not. So we need people that are able to defend themselves in a world like this today. So I move on to the refutation. Some might, some might argue that gun control actually does reduce crime. Gun control advocates advance several arguments to support their position that the government should restrict the availability of guns to reduce violence. So there are 4 points that they made to defend, saying that gun controls do actually work. First of all, they want to say that more handguns in circulation equals more violent crime. Secondly, they're saying that owning a handgun increases a person's risk of being killed. The third point is that keeping guns out of the hands of criminals prevents violent crime. And the last point is that taking guns away from criminals reduces violent crime, which is basically the same as the third point. So they're all respectable refutations. But now let's evaluate the gun control, yeah? Proponents of gun control suggest that some of the arguments against gun control are invalid. For example, they cite statistics that support the fact that if more citizens carried guns to defend themselves, there would be little decrease in crime because crime victims rarely use weapons anyway. So taking guns from criminals is the one promising approach. But proactive arrests made by police officers on patrols in gun crime hotspots using traffic enforcement and field interrogations for carrying concealed weapons substantially reduced gun crimes in the mid 1990s. Anyway, um, after all the body and all the research we have made, in conclusion, we believe that regardless of the refutations made, Malaysian citizens should be allowed to hold guns as a means of self-defense due to the ineffectiveness of Malaysian gun laws. You know, the gun laws are insufficient. What's the point of putting out a law, but things like black market and just in general bribery, they're still evident. So sometimes you can't get rid of it. So what you do is you adapt, and how you adapt is you allow citizens to hold guns. That is just Anas and I's mine, our perspective on this, and our research has proven. So we believe that allowing citizens of Malaysia to hold guns is the best way to reduce the crime rates in Malaysia, and hopefully will bring the country forward. So that is all for our progress report. Yep. Thank you very much.